I just looked at Terence Crawford's latest video. Terence Crawford, 20 pounds of muscle, my ass. Terence Crawford looks finished. And I knew that was going to happen because Terence Crawford's metabolism and its frame. You got him walking around maybe close to 180 or something like that. But as he works out, his body's going to do what it does. It's going to get lean. And I think it benefits Terence Crawford. Actually, we don't want him stepping in the ring going up to 180. I think it just hinders him, right? When Floyd Mayweather was fighting at 154, he never weighed in at 154. He weighed in at what was most comfortable for him because 154 is the limit. Terence Bud Crawford, if he gets on the scale and he doesn't weigh quite 168, I think it's actually for his benefit. What he has going for him comes with him being smaller, actually. People talk about his speed, talking about his foot speed, hand speed, talking about all those things, his reflexes and all those things. That comes from what we've seen of him from 147.
The boxing world is buzzing after Jermall Charlo recently made comments about Canelo Alvarez.
There's just guys that just have preposterous power, and Canelo is a guy that has power but is constantly working on it. There's a great clip of him working with Andy Ruiz. You know that shield, that weird hand shield they hold up for hooks? Yeah. And he's like, this is not for speed. This is just power, just power. He's like, don't try to be fast with this, just power. And you see him, bro, he hits so hard.
Even though he suffered a heavy defeat to the Mexican legend in 2023, Charlo didn't hold back. When asked to describe Canelo's power, he summed it up in just 3 words: a mothering beast. For someone who has faced elite fighters like Canelo, that's a bold statement. Getting hit like that shook Charlo more than ever before. He admitted it was the first time in his career that he felt off balance. Considering his years of competing at the highest level, this revelation is truly surprising.
I like Crawford. All right. My brother fought Canelo, not me. I like Crawford in this fight, and he gets to stay big. But my brother even told me that was his mistake that he made. He thought going up in weight, I gotta get massive, I gotta get big to beat Canelo. It made him slower, it made his reflexes slower. He'll tell you himself. He didn't feel like the Jermall Charlo that y'all seen him fight Tony Harrison. Crawford, I feel like that's the same thing as that. You want to get big to try to absorb Canelo punches and all this, but that's not, technically, that's not the Crawford that we're gonna see. And then Crawford going up there to fight Canelo at 68, when he's not a 68 pounder, where's the motivation? Y'all gotta think about it like
big for Crawford is
the money is good, but I don't expect Terence Crawford to be the Terence Crawford that was knocking out Gamboa, doing all. I don't expect that type of Terence.
Many fans are eagerly anticipating Canelo's upcoming fight with Terence Crawford next month in Las Vegas. While Canelo prepares for this new challenge, there's no question that Crawford is a pound-for-pound great. People are curious to see how Crawford will handle facing Canelo, who is significantly bigger, having moved from lightweight to welterweight and possibly even super middleweight. This matchup will be a serious test for Canelo, as Crawford is exceptionally smart and highly skilled in the ring. He could potentially expose some weaknesses in Canelo's style.
But Jermall did give Crawford problems. I favor Canelo, not by a lot, but I do favor him. I just think that, I think the skull fight was just a bad style. And I think Canelo was like, why force the issue? You know what I mean? I'm up. This guy's running. I'm not gonna take a chance. So I think that it was that kind of fight for Canelo. But Jermall did give Crawford problems. You know what I'm saying? And where I felt like, damn, at 54, he gave you problems. 68 is different.
Corin Davis discussed the fight, noting that Crawford's mental toughness and adaptability to a higher weight class might be more crucial than many realize. Canelo may not have as much of a size advantage over Crawford as some believe. Davis believes that, despite adding weight, Crawford's intelligence and speed remain unaffected.
You've been in there with Crawford?
Yeah.
So you've been in there with Crawford, you've been in there with Canelo. What can you take from sparring both of them to gauge what's gonna happen in September?
Preparation is gonna definitely be everything. Crawford adjusting to the 168 pound division. I know he's been sitting at a heavier weight for a while, but he's been showing his training and stuff. So that's definitely gonna help him. Canelo experience, but then you got Crawford got great experience as well. It's gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be a good chess match. I expect a great fight. If I had to favor somebody, I would just pick Canelo because just because of the weight disparity. Canelo is naturally like sits really well at 168, and it's just always tough for a guy to come to 168 and come from that many weight classes up and do something like that. If he does it, if anybody can do it, it'll be Terence Crawford.
Richardson Hitchens shares a similar view. He doesn't expect a knockout, but believes Crawford's style, built on sharp intelligence, adaptability, and flawless boxing, will challenge Canelo, a fighter who depends on strength and power. Crawford's speed and fluid movement could make it difficult for Canelo to get inside and land heavy shots, especially given Crawford's high ring IQ. In a battle where strategy outweighs raw power, Crawford could have the upper hand over Canelo.
I think Terence Crawford is one of the most craftiest dudes that Canelo gonna be in the ring with. Hand speed, IQ, long arms, speed, power. Switch hitter. I just think that it's gonna be something different for Canelo.
Mike Tyson, renowned not only for his boxing greatness but also for understanding what makes a fighter truly exceptional, believes Crawford's mental toughness could be the deciding factor. Despite the physical differences between the two fighters, Tyson thinks the outcome often comes down to heart, resilience, and mindset. Crawford has consistently demonstrated that his strategic thinking gives him an edge. Tyson is confident that Crawford's dedication and focus will allow him to overcome Canelo's superior strength in the ring.
Who do you think wins that fight? Is it maybe the weight too much for Terence Crawford?
There's been men that beat people like Armstrong and McLaren and these guys. They're beating people bigger than them, 2 divisions bigger than them. It's not impossible, Henry Armstrong's a featherweight, and he beat the middleweight champ. At 130 pounds, he beat the welterweight champ. Then he fought a draw with the middleweight champ. So I think size means nothing. Determination means everything.
Zab Judah is even more confident that Crawford can execute what's needed. He believes this gives Crawford a real chance to beat Canelo, emphasizing that Crawford's skills and ring intelligence could outmatch the Mexican star. Judah points out that Crawford's speed and ability to outthink his opponent may give him the advantage, particularly as the fight progresses and Canelo's stamina begins to wane.
About Canelo and Crawford.
Crawford. No hesitation. No hesitation.
I want to see that fight.
Big Bud. Big Bud. We're going to have to roll Canelo up. We're going to have to pack him up, baby.
But how hard is the jump from 47 to 68?
I mean, listen, it's a very big challenge. But what I said, with his skills and the way he's adapted to the size, brother, when I seen them stand toe-to-toe and side by side, I said, game over. Terence Crawford. And listen, don't be surprised if he stops it. I'm telling you.
Who?
Don't be surprised
if Canelo stops Crawford.
Terence Bud Crawford stops Canelo.
I would be surprised.
I love you. Skills pay the bills. See that, Cody? Skills pay the bills.
Caleb Plant offers a balanced perspective on the fight. He believes that neither size nor skill alone will determine the winner. Mental toughness is equally important. According to him, each fighter brings unique qualities to the ring. The contrast between Canelo's power and experience and Crawford's speed and adaptability makes the matchup both unpredictable and fascinating, creating a battle that will truly test the abilities of both fighters.
Terence is not a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? He's special. And, Canelo, he's a top-notch fighter, world-class fighter. Still on the pound-for-pound list, I'm sure towards somewhere near the top. And it's exciting. Terence is freakishly strong. He can punch. He's got good crack. He can fight from both ways. Orthodox, southpaw. He can fight at mid-range, close range, outside. And he can fight going both ways. So it's exciting. It's exciting. It's a big question mark on the end of it, though. So that's why, I'm sure all of us are excited for that bell to ring and, be able to find out firsthand.
The well-known sports commentator Stephen A. Smith has also voiced his support for Crawford. He believes Crawford's quick footwork and ring movement will help him evade Canelo's powerful punches. While Canelo's style relies on closing the distance and landing heavy shots, Smith thinks this could play into Crawford's favor, as he excels in technical fights where mobility and strategy are key. If Crawford can keep moving and avoid Canelo's big power punches, he could very well secure the victory.
You got a love for boxing.
Yes,
Who gonna win the fight, man? That's coming up, the biggest fight in boxing.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating. Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford.
You gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez. But I do believe that if you can box and you can move, that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him.
That's right.
When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo, despite his greatness, and a neck as wide as Broadway for crying out loud.
Right.
It's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yeah.
That's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's gonna go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight, and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up for fights not ready. He's always ready.
Always prepared.
He's always ready. He's always
that.
prepared. So I think he's the slower fighter, though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster. But I don't think he's...
Kelly Pavlik also offers some interesting insights. He acknowledges that Canelo has experience facing bigger opponents, while Crawford has less experience against larger, stronger fighters. Pavlik believes this could influence the fight, as Crawford is still adjusting to competing against bigger men who are accustomed to a faster pace. Despite these concerns, he recognizes Crawford's talent and thinks the key to his success will be his speed, footwork, and ring IQ, which allow him to control the flow of the fight.
That's a tough one. Look, I like betting fights or making picks, and I'm usually pretty good on all my picks, even when I have the podcast. But sometimes, because people look for that fighter, that former world champion, and they like want to pick them apart if they get it wrong. This is one of the fights where I want to sit back and watch and not worry about my pick. Canelo is a small middleweight, super middleweight. He just is. But he's also showed that he could go up in weight class, and he's a great fighter. I mean, that's it. Crawford is so talented. He's got so much ability in boxing, his boxing ability. And he's a bigger guy too. He's almost every bit as big as Canelo, right? So that's what makes it tough. Like, yeah, Canelo's used to fighting guys coming down from 200 probably, at light heavyweight. And Crawford ain't. But it's just too hard to pick on it because of Crawford's ability and boxing skills. I'm not going off of Canelo's last fight. The guy he was fighting was in survival mode pretty much. He was just fighting not to get knocked out. When you fight a guy like that, you're not going to look good, right? I don't care what anybody says. When you fight a guy that's running around trying to survive, it makes it hard. So I don't go off of that, but this fight is going to be interesting. I mean, I would almost have to kind of lean with Canelo, but I'm not making that pick. Just saying.
Along with emphasizing strategy, Pavlik also offers some advice for Crawford. Apply pressure on Canelo from the start. This approach could gradually wear Canelo down, particularly in the later rounds, where the Mexican has shown signs of fatigue in past fights. By exploiting Canelo's potential drop in energy, Crawford could secure either late stoppage or decisive victory on points. It's a calculated risk, but if executed correctly, it could prove highly effective.
And Canelo's that's a little early on. Put Canelo behind, right? Even if it's 3 out of the first 4 rounds. Because when Canelo has to fight, when Canelo has to step it up, after 7 rounds, he starts to fade a little bit. We've seen that with Bivol. We've seen it in a lot of his fights with Triple G. When Canelo could control the fight and the ring generalship, he could fight 12 rounds pretty good. But when Canelo gets pushed early on in the fight, he starts to fade muscle endurance wise. So if I was Crawford, I would kind of stay in a little bit on the early rounds and make him have to play catch up in rounds 3, 4, 5, and then by round 7, that's where he can really step.
Tim Bradley is fully backing Crawford. He doesn't see any flaws in Canelo's recent performances, even the underwhelming ones against fighters like John Ryder. However, Bradley believes Canelo won't be able to cope with Crawford's superior boxing skills. Even if Canelo attempts to make it a brawl, Bradley feels Crawford has the ability to dominate from start to finish.
One more thing. It don't matter if Canelo is on that. He ain't beat no Terence Crawford. You heard it here first. Plus, I look at the performances of Canelo. I look at his last performances. I mean, they've been all right. They ain't been like, wow, blew me away. So I'm not really worried about all of that. And the same thing goes with Crawford. I know he's with Snack, and I know some news came out this week and all of that, but I personally believe that Snack is clean. I think it's a conflict of interest, the fact that, hey, he knows how to beat the system, quote unquote, Conte, but at the same time, I think Snack, you got products going around the world, this and that. I mean, all these athletes are testing. They're not testing anything or positive by using Snack at all. So I think they're safe. There's no doubt about it. So with that being said, I'm not worried about that. As long as they're testing, I'm good.
Shannon Briggs, meanwhile, isn't intimidated. He still believes Crawford can defeat Canelo, despite being the smaller fighter. Briggs points out that Crawford's technical brilliance and ability to switch stances make the upset possible. Having known Crawford since he was a child, Briggs has confidence in the undefeated fighter's skills and anticipates a technical victory, potentially by stoppage.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a great fight. I got Crawford by stoppage, and I known him since he was a little kid, 12 years old. So to see him now fighting for a title in such a big fight, it's a great experience, great to see.
Last question for me then. How do you think Crawford stops him? How do you think he's able to work Canelo enough for him to stop the fight, drop, knock him down? How do you think this is possible by Crawford style?
He gonna box him. He can fight both ways. He gonna trick him up. One thing Canelo showed is that he can be outboxed. But I think this time in the late rounds, I think Crawford gonna have something.
Initially, Sergio Mora doubted that Crawford could defeat Canelo at 168 pounds. He questioned whether Crawford was ready for the challenge, especially after his underwhelming performance against William Skell. However, after reconsidering, Mora has changed his mind. He now believes Crawford's toughness and skill set could allow him to deliver a surprising and impressive performance. Mora highlights that Crawford's counterpunching ability and stance switching will be crucial in neutralizing Canelo's power.
I ain't gonna lie, I've been putting it out since, I want to say, when he fought Sean Porter. Like back then, if you go watch, it's an interview out there. I had said I think that Terence Crawford would beat Canelo Alvarez right after he fought Sean Porter.
At that point, but why did you believe then that was the right fight?
Because I just knew, like, as far as in that weight class, Terence Crawford is like the greatest. So I just feel as though with Canelo's style and like the style of boxing that he got, I think and this is before Bivol did it, but I thought like Terence Crawford was the only guy who I felt as though could have beat Canelo with his style.
Surprise? Stevenson has long believed that Crawford has what it takes to beat Canelo. He has closely followed Crawford's development, particularly his victory over Sean Porter in 2021, which solidified his reputation as one of the sport's elite. Stevenson believes Crawford is the ideal fighter to defeat Canelo due to his exceptional skills, ability to switch between orthodox and southpaw stances, and high boxing IQ. Meanwhile, Arsalan, who lost to Canelo by split decision, is more cautious. Aware of Canelo's strength and the difficulty of facing him, especially in the later rounds, he suggests that Crawford's best chance lies in staying mobile and avoiding Canelo's heavy punches. By keeping the fight at a distance and forcing Canelo to work harder, Crawford could secure a victory without engaging in a power battle.
He sees it as a very interesting 50-50 fight. He feels like Canelo's very strong right now, and he wants to figure out to see how Crawford's going to handle the power, especially in the early rounds, and what's going to happen. He said he remembers fighting Canelo back 14 years ago it is now, and he said he remembers he used his legs real good, and as long as Crawford uses his legs and he doesn't let Canelo just hit him in the arms and beat him up in the arms, he has a very good chance of...
Finally, the matchup between Canelo and Crawford is shaping up to be one of the most anticipated boxing events in recent history. While opinions vary on the outcome, both fighters bring unique strengths to the ring. Fans around the world are eagerly waiting to see who will emerge victorious in this historic showdown.